What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Keith. I'm here with my brother, Nell, and we're back on the pod today, man. We got another great episode for you guys, man. Season 3, episode 95. Let's do it. All right, Nell. What's up? What's up, man?
What's going on? What's up?
You all right?
Nah.
All right. Listen, folks. We're going to do this way today. All right, so
yeah, please.
Before we hopped on the episode, me and Nell, we always talk, right? Today we got into the episode, and so we're going to come right out with it. Last week, we talked about, I made a comment about Nikola Jokic, and I said soon we'll be having some tough conversations about where he stands all time. Nell disagreed. We've been talking on the topic of Hakeem Olajuwon. Let's start with that now. What were you saying about Hakeem? Please tell everybody.
Well, I want to preface this by saying Quis said that Hakeem Olajuwon could not play in today's NBA. It would be a struggle for him to find minutes.
I said
he pulled up his highlights while watching the great Hakeem Olajuwon, who some say is the most offensively talented center ever.
I'm still watching it.
That man's going to struggle to find minutes.
And now let's put into perspective that Nell also you were saying that we're not adapting his game to today's game. We're taking him.
You give me Hakeem.
You're taking him as he plays.
Give me 1992 to 94 Hakeem. Throw him in today's NBA.
All right.
30 and 15.
Maybe this was a bad
5 blocks a game.
Maybe that
30,
was a bad
15, 5 blocks. 55% from the field. 30 15,
5 blocks.
All right, 4 blocks. I'm spicing it. 4 blocks.
No.
30 and 15.
The way he plays, as is, what I'm watching, catch ball, one dribble, fake, layup. I'm sorry. I don't see it.
Do you know why he did that?
Why?
Nobody can stop it.
And you think in today's era, nobody can stop this?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. How are they going to? Explain to me how someone in today's era is going to stop him.
Today's era, guys are 7 feet tall.
How many true 7-footers are there really?
In the league?
Yeah.
There are tons of 7-footers.
Name them. Give me some. Give me like 5 to 10 like 7-footers that you feel like have a great chance to stop Hakeem.
That is not my point.
Why isn't it?
That's not my point. I'm saying that the way that he plays, stylistically in today's game, that's just not how it's played.
It's not how it's played.
You talk about we're gonna put him around. You said put him around 4 shooters, and we're gonna
put him around 4 shooters,
and we're gonna throw that in there to him.
4 out, 1 in. That's all we need. Every possession. Pick your poison. Pick your poison.
30 and 15.
It'll be now. He doesn't. I'll give you. He doesn't have the passability of Jokic. But it won't be.
That already hurts him in today's game.
It won't be that much of a difference. It won't be that much of a difference.
Well, if you can't pass, we're going to double
I didn't say he can't pass. Jokic is just a tier above. I'll give him that.
Okay.
He's probably already stamped the best big man passer of all time.
Okay.
But is that supposed to stop? Embiid isn't that great of a pass off the double team. Bro still can get 4 or 5 assists. Still average 30 in his league.
No, I'm telling you, I'm watching these.
I don't know what video you're watching. You got to be watching a 2B version of his highlights because
I'm telling you,
we must be watching different Knicks tapes.
Here we go. You were saying that you have a list of players that you could see at the end of his career, Jokic, because that's the topic.
I can see. Like, I think these players right here, I don't think Jokic has a chance to pass any of them.
And that's what I'm saying. So the people on your list,
maybe 1 or 2, but
all right,
for the most part, no.
I got a 1 minute. I got a 1:39 ultimate clip that I'm watching right here.
And minute 39. Like what?
It's the ultimate highlight, bro. I'm watching. I'm trying to see. That's a good move.
It's a good move. Who's stopping it today?
Bro, you also was talking about bigs. I'm going to tell you the last names of the last 3 bigs I saw him do this on. in this film. Because you also before we got in, you said the bigs back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
How many David Robinsons, Patrick Ewings, just size wise, dude, Shaqs, Kareems? How many of those do we see running around?
There's a reason.
Maybe
it's not the game, and that's my point. Like that's not like,
all I'm saying is that if you put that man from that era in this era, he's gonna be like, oh wait, y'all not coming. Oh, okay, y'all not coming to double. Oh, okay. Wait, y'all switching and y'all put somebody 6'5"? Yo, hold up. I'm not about to run out to the 3-point line like Cat. Hey, let me get down here. Hey, get that up here. Layup. Oh, you want to come double now? Okay, bam. There's my shooter.
Bro. I don't see it, bro. Like this is.
Get some glasses, my man.
I just don't see it happening.
You don't see it because NBA players have made the game is so much more difficult. The game is so much more difficult because players have made it difficult. You're penalizing Hakeem because he's efficient and he has go-to moves that he doesn't mind doing the entire game because they work.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. Respectfully disagree. I'm just going to get to my list of players that I'm taking over Jokic all the time. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Wilt, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Hakeem, Moses Malone. Yes, I said it. Yep. Fo. Yep. Don't do that. Don't do that, yo. Don't do that. He got the same amount of MVPs and rings as Jokic. Don't do that. Don't do that. KD, Curry, and Larry Bird. And I got a couple more names that I could be disrespectful with, but
no, I wanted to hear those ones.
No, I'm gonna chill on those.
No, because you said that I want to hear those ones.
I'm gonna chill on those. I'm not gonna be too disrespectful. But those are my for sure. For sure.
And he can never pass.
You probably won't be able to convince me. Only ones that you can maybe convince me on is maybe Moses.
Well, you already know how I feel about Hakeem. So that's one.
Maybe KD, if he got another ring.
That's definitely 2.
You know who the last center to average 30 was before Embiid?
Humor me. Is it Moses Malone?
It's Moses Malone. Yeah.
Are we placing him in this era too?
I mean, if you want to, I wouldn't, but like, if you want to.
Sitting next to PJ Tucker.
30 and 17, probably.
They're not, like, you're talking about it was just easy. Like, bro, those were go-to moves, but I'm telling you in today's NBA, it's not good. Like, they're not going for that.
It's not even, like, just about go-to moves. Like,
I said Hakeem wouldn't play big minutes because he wouldn't.
Some people say Moses was, like, the greatest offensive rebounder of all time. You see how many possessions Mitchell Robinson gets offensive rebounds. Now, imagine if someone getting offensive rebounds actually has offensive talent.
So you think Moses Malone versus Mitchell Robinson rebounding?
I'm just saying he's an elite. You're saying, these go-to moves. It's not all about the moves. It's not all about the moves.
Mitchell Robinson rebounding.
Yes. What the fuck kind of question is that?
I'm saying you prime Moses Malone versus Mitchell Robinson right now on the floor right now, and Moses Malone out-rebounds him.
Duh. What are we saying? What are we saying? We're insane. Are you serious right now? Are we dead ass? A man that averaged 17 rebounds a game, and I have to argue about you with Mitchell Robinson.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you that
the dude that all I got to do is foul a couple times, and they're gonna take him off the court.
I promise there were no Mitchell Robinsons.
All I got to do is hug him a couple possessions. They're gonna be like, "Hey, come sit down."
I promise you there were no Mitchell Robinsons going up against Moses Malone, gang.
All right, yeah. We can go. We can move on. Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it. I don't feel like that's like incredibly awful.
That might be the most disrespectful thing I've heard in my lifetime talking basketball. I never thought I would have to argue Moses Malone and Mitchell Robinson. Even if we're just talking rebounding. Even if we're just talking rebounding.
What, 6'9" Moses Malone versus 7'1" Mitchell Robinson. Styles aren't changing. We're taking Moses from the gym. We're bringing him into this era playing Mitchell Robinson.
30 and 15.
Maybe I'll go watch those highlights too. I don't think there are that many historical greats that you can think style for style can last and be okay. in this era.
Why not?
I just don't. I don't think so.
I mean, will their bodies hold up? That's a different conversation. But if they're on the court,
I seen him play.
If they're on the court, they're one game. All right, yo, 40 and 20, 40 and 20.
Bro, come on.
Like, yo, stop. Like, what are we doing?
God. Moses Malone like 40 and 20 in this era, bro.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
The paint is like 10 times more clogged back then when they played, and they still finding a way to get 40 and 20. So now you telling me I got all this space down here.
You watch, bro?
Enough. Okay. He's the only reason my city has an NBA championship in the last 50 years. Real question is, how much have you seen? Because this sounded really disrespectful.
Clearly not.
Do you know who that man beat? Do you know who that man beat in the finals?
Clearly
Swept
not
them.
Much, bro.
Swept them. Like, stop.
I'm about to watch it.
You better do some research on 444, man. Come on, yo.
This
is getting ridiculous.
I was really talking about purely rebounding.
Like, I don't like to be that old head that's just always rocking with the old guys. We've got to just show some respect, bro. We've got to show some respect, just a little bit.
I don't know.
That's all right. That's all right, yo.
I don't think so, bro.
That's all right. Let's talk about the Knicks. That's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson, all-time rebounder. Mitchell Robinson. Let's talk about that.
I'm not saying that is not an all-time rebounder. I'm talking about purely, hey, come play over here right now. Do I think so? Do I think their games would match up that he would out-rebound Mitchell Robinson? I don't think so. And that's not like, I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is hilarious. This is hilarious to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro,
hilarious to me.
What's KD doing in the 60s?
Witchcraft?
Okay. Was witchcraft being done in the 60s?
What's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with Moses Malone still not getting his buckets? That's all I'm saying. What does that have to do with Moses and Hakeem not being able to do what they do?
I'm taking you're taking a generational player of that time. I'm taking a generational player of this time. I told you
you know what happens if they take big men from back in the day and put them in here? They're gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta actually work every possession. You tell me these dudes ain't just shooting threes and giving me a possession off. You tell me I actually got to play defense the entire game.
I'm glad
he's actually going into my chest every possession. I got to deal with that. Oh hell no! Hey, coach, shut up.
I'm glad you reminded me.
Do you know how people? Have you ever listened to how people talked about Melo after playing him because of the way he would?
I understand. Yes, I have.
Abuse them in the post.
Absolutely.
And you got Embiid. Who? Oh yeah, I'm just out here. Cat. I'm gonna just shoot these. I'm gonna just shoot these jumpers.
You see how that fades. You see how that fades over time. Like we saw Melo. Like, I'm one of the biggest Melo fans, but like Melo, they didn't let Melo play. That's what I'm saying. Like we're talking about guys in their style. That Melo was like that. We know that. But when Melo got to the point where the league was not there, and I'm telling you that, like that league, them guys, you talking about like, oh, they gonna come in and bro, no. And what I was trying to say was,
what Melo are we talking about?
Pick one.
I'm saying when you say like the league didn't let him play, like what do you mean by that?
He got blackballed from the league, and he ended up with the Thunder, and then the Rockets, and then the Lakers.
After his prime?
Oh, his prime was cut, bro. like, what do you mean?
I'm not saying like
the Knicks were like, oh wow, Melo's our best player. Unfortunately, in the league, we can't win like that no more. And they made him, and they did what? And then Melo's like, what? And that's why
that was the Knicks' dysfunction. I ain't got nothing to do with Melo.
I mean, but that's still the league.
And the league was wrong. And then he came back and averaged 17 a game. And shows you just how stupid the league was for saying, he probably isn't an NBA player anymore.
For sure. But that's Melo showing that he's great. But what are you saying in terms of how's that? Is 17 Melo?
Analytics people would be struggling. Analytics people, it's sure. Not, but like at the end of his career, like 17 was still good for him.
Okay.
Analytics people gonna be like, oh man, he ain't shooting threes, but he's giving you 30 and 15. What's going on here? I didn't know that was still possible.
What I was trying to say about Shaq, because you mentioned Shaq earlier, and what teams do?
15 and 20 on Jokic.
I understand. I told you before we got on here, I'm cool with
80 and 20 on Mitchell Robinson.
Come on. But my point is, I saw a thing about Mike D'Antoni basically talking about the way they had to figure out to beat Shaq was they had to start shooting threes and making the game faster so that he couldn't be effective. So that's my point. Is like in today's league, like those bigs are. I'm sorry, they're not just running up and down. We're not throwing that into them, and they're not. And when they get
it, what you're gonna have to double and triple.
We're gonna defend it. Like that's what you do. But you talking about Nikola Jokic? Like we've never seen a big do that. Like we don't like you talk about Embiid. Like we don't see bigs do that. Like that's incredible. But that's incredible.
What they did was incredible too.
I mean, for sure.
And I don't think if you put them in this era, most of them, that they're just going to stop being incredible just because the game has changed.
Do they average? But you're saying they're averaging plus their numbers.
30 and 15.
Exactly. That's insane.
Well, Moses averaged that before.
And he's not averaging that in this league. That's my whole point. Hakeem's not averaging Hakeem numbers in this league, I don't think.
Why? I just don't see why not, bro.
I think you like discredit the current big, like because they're just different types of bigs. But like they're not that good. They're definitely not worse than some of them bigs that was running that era. Like if you weren't one of them top guys, the rest of them dudes was trash.
There's only like 2 top guys now.
But the rest aren't that trash. Like everybody's
they kind of are.
No, bro. No.
I feel like there's a huge drop off at the center. The center spot is so bad that they're just putting half the time people are just putting small forwards, power forwards at center spots. You got JJ Redick. Oh yeah, I'll start a center for 10 minutes, and then after that we just go on small ball the rest of the way.
And that's why the guys you named wouldn't average 30 and 15.
You got the Celtics who got 7-footer in Kristaps who like, oh my god, he would foul out in 5 minutes against Moses and Hakeem. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Come on, yeah.
We're supposed to talk about the Knicks. You talked about my Knicks. We'll let that one marinate now. I don't know if I can get with you, bro. But my Knicks
I'm not finished with this either.
It's fine.
I'm not.
My Knicks lost.
Good. They deserved it.
Everybody's happy.
Mr. Robinson should have grabbed some more rebounds.
He tried, bro. He did, man. I can't believe you.
I can't believe you.
Some things happened, right? Tibbs got fired today. It kind of threw off the whole thing of the show. So with that, I know how I feel about it, but I'm curious how you feel. Now, what do you think about the firing? What do the Knicks need to do to get over the hump? Was that a part of the hump? Was it Tibbs as well? What do you think?
To start with the Tibbs firing, I wasn't a fan of it. Obviously, we planned on coming on this show today and talking about whether the Knicks should look to move on from Tibbs. And then before we hop on, the news came out that he was relieved of his duties. And to be honest, I don't agree with it. And I think it's kind of funny to me that we can put the blame on him, which, I mean, that's where you're putting it when you make this move a couple days after losing Game 6. You're pretty much putting the blame on him. I just think it comes off as very ungrateful for a coach that for the last 40 years has done nothing but improve this team and taken it to heights that it hasn't seen in literally 25 years. So he comes in, obviously Brunson and the collection of talent that Leon Rose has been able to bring in, like that was a huge part of it. But for him to coach that team, get them back into the playoffs, back to the second round, and then back to a conference finals, a place no coach has taken them since 99, 2000, and then just to let him go like that, I didn't agree with it. I go back and forth with friends all the time because I always question how much of a loss is on a coach. I understand there are times where you need a new voice, scheme's got to be right. But like I said, when you get to that point in the season, like you've done a good enough job, like you've put your team in position. And there's been so much talk about Cat's defensive awareness, his IQ, kind of the fit with him and Brunson because of how they struggle defensively when both are on the court. You have all of this, and Tibbs, who's a defensive coach, you have all of this, and then you blame him. I don't get that. Like, I never played professional sports, but, if a coach says, hey, don't let that shooter get open, hey, make sure we run back on defense, and if I just don't do that, I don't see how that's on the coach. So I don't really agree with that. I think if you got to next year and let's say you fell short of the conference finals or you fell short of the finals again, then I can understand being like, hey, let's try to go in a different direction. Maybe we've hit the ceiling with this group. But I don't think we've really seen the ceiling yet. Again, they traded for Cat day before training camp. These players they've still been trying to, they talked about all season. That's why they brought PJ Tucker in. They tried to, help bring this team together, continuity, all the things that you need for a championship. Like, it was amazing that they made this run even without that. Like, honestly, they shouldn't have been there. Nobody thought they could beat Boston, especially the way they were playing in the regular season. They were able to do that, and they lost to a better team. And I think one critique of Thibodeau, obviously, him, his short rotation and playing players too long. I think that's certainly something that should be, and could have been addressed. But I mean, when I think about it, outside of Deuce and Mitchell Robinson, I'm not a fan of anything else on the Knicks bench. So I'm not even mad at him for having a short rotation.
You don't know anything else on the Knicks bench.
I mean, that could be true.
I told you about Shamet, and it took.
Shamet was a rookie. I loved him. I didn't want to trade him. Solid player, but there's a ceiling to it. So I mean, I think if you went to the offseason, we're just like, hey, Tibbs, we're gonna try to improve the bench so you don't have to, and let's try to go into the season and not really kill our guys so we have our legs when we get to the playoffs and, maybe go against an Indiana. Like you said, they built that team to beat Boston. They did that. Now, okay, let's try to flesh out the bench, and so that way we don't have to rely on guys for so long. We don't have to rely on Josh Hart for 40 minutes. I think all of that would have been fair, but it just comes off to me as a little ungrateful because I thought he did a great job this year, albeit, how it ended.
I mean,
it's not his fault that OG disappears for stretches at times on offense or falls asleep on a bunch of three-pointers. It's not his fault that they say, I mean, we don't know that. I mean, if we're in a pick and roll and Neesmith has already hit 4 or 5 threes in a row and you just sitting back chilling, I'm sorry, I can't put that on the coach. Like, bro, are you stupid? Like, get up and put a hand up. Like, are you dumb?
Right.
Like that. Like, if I'm a coach, I'm saying, are you dumb? So
what if that's not the coverage? What if the coverage is, hey, I want you to tag and then recover. OG, you got to get over. And then I tag and recover, and OG didn't get over. I did what I was told to do.
Again, I feel like that's a player's.
If I'm OG and I haven't scored in 3, 4, 5 possessions, somebody's job is to figure out a way to make sure I'm still kind of involved in this game. And it's not just my point guard, which, yes, I agree. A lot of it, the players are playing, right? Coach is coach. But there's also things that are schematically, the way, right? Like if I want my team to trap ball screens, and it's my decision to keep trapping ball screens, and we keep trapping ball screens, and we're getting killed, and I'm like, it's all right, it's gonna work. Let's do this time. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm asked.
Or if I'm a defensive coach and I like to run schemes a certain way, and then you go out and you get me Karl-Anthony Towns, who doesn't really take defense as a priority.
So whose job is it to make Karl-Anthony Towns worth playing, or either not play him?
I mean, right? we saw him not play him. What game was that that he benched Cat?
He deserved to not play.
And Thibodeau got shit for it. People literally were like, "Yo, why would you bench him?"
And then what did Cat do the next night?
He balled out.
Sometimes that's coaching, and I mean, but
you win some, you lose some.
Yeah,
all I'm saying
absolutely.
is I don't think he coached himself to getting fired this year. That's all I'm saying. I don't think this was. Tibbs got it. I don't think he coached himself to get fired.
I first want to say that I don't disagree with you. Right, I think it is when you think the holistic approach of what he did for the Knicks, for our franchise, right? That was, like you said, it was a clown show, right? For years, it was just people doing stuff, right? Phil Jackson coming in there doing what he wanted to do. You can go further back than that. I mean, we talked about the Melo trade. If you think about it from
Eric
a Knicks
Fisher.
standpoint, right? Like you gutted your team for Melo, and then all these other decisions you made, right? What Jeff Hornacek was the coach when we had Phil Jackson. Oh Lord, what's my guy's name? We had the Mike Woodson coaching there was something, right? So it's like the Knicks have done
D'Antoni.
a lot of bad decisions, right? Selling out for stars, not getting them, swinging and a miss, drafting talent and trading it. Who you drafted, right? You talk about players that you could have gotten behind certain other players that pan out to be nothing. So under the Thibodeau regime, for the most part, right? Like you saw gradual improvement, of course, and I agree with you. Like it does look ungrateful, but I mean, I also think, truthfully, Tibbs kind of. I think you used the word ceiling. And I think the reason why we didn't see the Knicks ceiling was because I don't think Tibbs is the coach that would unlock the Knicks ceiling. I don't think you talk about defensively. I don't necessarily even think the Knicks' problem was completely defense, right? Like, yes, game 6, you're not getting back on defense. You're giving up layups, whatever. That's a problem.
Game 1.
Yeah, right. However, do you think the Knicks' offense was as good as it should have been? Right? Like you look at what Jalen Brunson did.
It definitely tailed off the second half of the season and
I don't
wasn't
think
as
at
effective.
no point did you see a well-oiled machine of players that features Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, a guy who we've seen.
But some of that stuff takes time. Think about this. You're saying, oh,
But
they weren't a well-oiled machine, and they got to the conference finals. You can't give that one more year. Hey, let's bring these guys back a full off season to get to know each other, learn. Let's improve the bench. We can't make one more run.
I think what you look at though is from Tibbs. What you saw was a stubbornness. Yes, wishful thinking would be, hey, we have a sit down. I need you to do X, Y, Z. Tibbs is not one of them coaches that's just like new, young energy about to change his way. Like that. Like at the end of the day, the Knicks didn't have an offense. That's why we didn't score. It was just, hey, we have a really, really, really good player, and we have another really, really good player, and then we got a bunch of guys that play hard. But offensively, if the Knicks defense is gonna stink, you talking about coaching? Okay, we have Cat. We have to accept that we will give up some points. What do we do to make sure that even though we have that going on, we still are the better team? You talking about the Pacers were the better team than the Knicks? Yes, but did they have the better players? Absolutely not. How does one group of players become a better team? At some point, it requires coaching because it requires buy-in. It requires us understanding concepts. We got
also requires continuity,
right? But you said like you have time. Clearly, the Knicks don't feel like
all right,
you have time.
Let me actually.
You don't have when your window's this. When you have a window.
Fair.
There's no time.
Let me just ask you this: what coach is out there that's a massive upgrade from Tibbs right now that you want?
And that is why I don't necessarily agree with it. Because I agree with you. I don't know where you go, right? I mean, I feel like for some reason, I've been screaming out Mike Malone, but I feel like there's been 3, 4 hirings, and he ain't been one of them, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, well, why is that, right?
If you get Mike Malone, I'll change my opinion on it. If you bring in a championship coach, then I'll understand it. But if you don't, if you bring in a young coach with not much experience, or a coach that has no playoff success, I'll be scratching my head.
You're putting a ton of pressure on this new coach. I agree, because next thing you know, the ceiling is what? The ECF, right? So we've been there, or that's the floor now.
The next goal is the NBA Finals. Like you'll go into the next season like, hey,
you can't blow it.
Got the Game 6 of these conference finals last year. Probably should have won it if we didn't completely collapse Game 1. Yeah, we expecting Eastern Conference Finals or Finals.
We can't. But like, I agree. But it's like I think where the Knicks are looking at it is holistically over the span of the entire season. Like you talking about the bench, you don't know what's on the bench because you didn't see what was on the bench. Like it took Tibbs had all season to find different pairings around Karl-Anthony Towns that was good. He had all season to find pairings with Mitchell Robinson. Well, not all season, but Mitchell Robinson got back late, which hurts, right? But you had enough time, and then you didn't. You don't know if you didn't know what you were going to get from DeLon Wright or Landry Shamet because you didn't play it all season. You don't know if Tyler Cole is any good. You don't know if Dottier is any good. PJ Tucker was just a veteran presence. Okay, do you bring him back? Mikal Bridges regressed. Somehow, OG...
That probably hurt the most.
Why did he regress? Why could we not find a way for this guy who we've seen be productive in the NBA, offensively and defensively? Why can't we find a way for this guy to still be himself? Like that goes into coaching. And then if the Knicks are looking at like, well, we got to see what that is, and we don't think that's enough, we've hit the ceiling with this guy.
All right.
I mean, that's if the Knicks say, okay, we want to win right now. Obviously, they feel like Tom Thibodeau is not the guy that can win right now. Whoever it is must be out there because they fired him immediately almost. I mean, you talking about a young coach. I I feel like the Knicks are about to hire Johnny Bryant.
Who was that?
Exactly. He used to coach for the Knicks. He was an associate head coach. He went to Cleveland. They just announced he's a finalist for the Suns job. And then the next day, Tom Thibodeau gets fired. I don't know.
Good luck.
Do you think for the Knicks to have overachieved as much as they did, they also underachieved extremely?
I don't like that.
Why not?
Because how did they underachieve? You've been somewhere that you haven't been in 25 years.
I feel like
if you just went and lost in the second round.
But you're just looking at what's at the end of it. Like watching the entire process, you laughed at us getting here this whole time because you was like, what?
I did.
It wasn't because we were blowing you away with things like, come on, bro. Like it took how many miracles for us to get here? And then we fell on our face. And the one time when we was like, oh, they should be fine. And then you look bad. It was an embarrassingly bad 6-game series. The Pacers knew exactly what they had, and they ran with it. Every player knew their role. Every player knew how many minutes they was going to play. Every player knew.
But we knew that going into the series.
Exactly. Why? But you didn't know that about the Knicks. All you knew was that somebody was going to play for 45 minutes, and it was probably all 5 of the damn starters. That's all you knew. It took a Shamet savior. Nobody expected Shamet because you didn't see it. You laughed when I told you we need Shamet to play.
It was funny.
Right, because it had Tom Thibodeau allowed the Knicks to see that Landry Shamet was a worthy reserve. You act like he played his way off the floor. He didn't even play his way onto the floor. They made it seem like we needed him all year, and he barely played. And you played your guys a bunch of minutes to get to the ECF. All for what?
I just don't like when we go, oh yeah, go New York, and then when they lose the game, it's like, oh my god, we're so trash, like it sucks, oh my god, like
no, that's not what I'm saying.
I think I had a great year.
We did. Most fun I've had as a Knicks fan in my life, and next year, guess what? We all want to go back to the ECF and make it to the finals, and I don't think there's enough confidence that people would say that we could do it again, and that's not. I would say, cat, dude.
Obviously, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I would say, why not? I would say, why can't you do it again?
Clearly, we're not confident with the product we've watched.
I'm just not necessarily a fan of like huge team. I mean, this isn't like a huge team turnover, and I mean, most of that roster for the main part, at least starting 5, is like locked in. But I'm just not a huge fan of like roster and coach turnover.
I understand.
I just feel like you need all that stuff to win a championship.
You know what hurts Tibbs in this situation is that the last few what the hell firings we've seen, they turned out decent. You fire Mike Malone and they went. We didn't expect that guy in that team to look like that. The Cavs,
we didn't.
The Cavs last season, they got the coach of the year this year. Granted, they're looking like, well, what do we get from it? We didn't go nowhere, but you got the best record in the East and got some decisions to make. So, like, all I'm saying is, like, it's not like we haven't seen firings of the sort recently in recent history where you insert said guy. If we feel like that's the guy, it's like most situations, these coaches are going into a place where nothing is set in stone, right? Ime Udoka in Houston is building that up with a young core. You take a guy and you're like, hey, look what you got. You got to change this one to the ECF. This is your roster. What do you think they should do? How do you think they should look? If I think that mind can make us go from where we are to even better, okay.
That's why you got to have that plan in place already.
Maybe they did. Notice.
I hope so. Like I said,
they said relieved of his duties. They didn't say they fired him.
If you get Michael Malone, then look, It was a good move. If you
So
get
that's the
anybody
only
else,
coach. That's the only coach you cool with.
it's got to be a championship coach. You got to have some kind of championship experience. If you
I
just
heard,
bring
I
in
heard people
someone,
saying Jay Wright. I hope we don't do that.
no, like see, like, come on, yeah, clown show.
Exactly.
Now when they don't get it done and lose in the first or second round, it's like, oh, look, Brunson brought his guy in, and the Nova dudes like ain't getting it done. Like
that's exactly what I said. The Knicks
so,
don't look. Knicks fans don't know what to think right now.
I just
I'm not sure.
like you say we've seen teams, fire their coach and it end up well for them. We've also seen it like go the complete opposite way. We've seen teams blow it up too early and nothing good comes from it.
I'm not with you in the mindset though that you need a championship coach either.
I feel like in this situation, if you're not upgrading to a champ,
like you need something creative. The Knicks needed to be more creative. That offense was go play and Brunson save us. And let's be real. How many sets did you watch the Knicks run?
Enough.
He ran a lot of good out of timeout sets, and that was it. Come down every play is Brunson starting the offensive possession up at half court. Cats coming to set a ball screen from somewhere. OG's about to stand in the corner. Mikal Bridges standing in the corner. Wonder why they can't do anything offensively.
That's a lot of teams, yo. I'm not gonna lie, like it's a lot of teams.
And a lot of those teams lose, though, bro.
I mean, look, if the Celtics ran that offense, they're averaging like 120 a game.
If the Celtics
sometimes it's personnel.
They're not the same team.
Sometimes it's personnel.
Well, you got your personnel. You just said the core's locked in.
It's locked in.
You spent five first rounders on Mikal, so you got to extend them. You better hope he wants to stay.
He's gonna be looking for some money too, even though he probably should look to give some back.
That'd be nice. Put some incentives in there and make him play better.
I mean, hey, Brunson already took his pay cut, so
he did. Hey man, we'll see. They're putting a lot of different things out there. My Knicks are back in the forefront, still in the media headlines always. Those selfish Knicks. We'll see. I just hope we don't do anything stupid. So far, this regime, Leon Rose and the guys, they're pretty decent. So I trust them. We'll see what we can do. But we gotta talk about the finals, man.
Good one.
We got the two small market teams. You got Oklahoma City Thunder. You got the Indiana Pacers. Do you think this is good for the league?
I think it's great for the league. Two fresh, young, great basketball teams, but young rising. Well, you got a superstar in Shea, you got a rising star in Howley leading the charge. I think if you're the NBA and you want new stars to grow, because obviously we know we're coming towards the end of the tunnel with the LeBron, KD, Curry era. I think their brands will only grow from playing on this stage. Like I saw somewhere like this is like the first matchup of like two teams in the finals that are like outside the top 20 in like media markets. Indy's 25th and OKC is 47th. So like this is I think this is just
all states. Wait,
yeah. Their OKC is 47th. As the 47th media market. So I think like just for them being on the stage, I think it has a chance for their brand to grow. Like I said, LeBron, Curry won't be here forever. So, I mean, they should be happy that two of their younger stars are, especially you got your league MVP here playing in the finals. And I think I saw somewhere after Giannis won his first championship, the following year, his nationally televised games for the Milwaukee Bucks, ratings went up 21%. For Jokic, when they won the championship, Denver nationally televised games went up, viewership went up 32%. So when you get these guys on this stage and you showcase them, like the following season, like people are gonna come back and be like, okay, no, this is one of the guys, this is one of the stars, this is one of the teams that we should be watching and paying attention to. So I think it'll certainly help, and I'm looking forward to this matchup. I think it's going to be great basketball on both ends. I just hope that it goes long enough for fans to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm all about the small market teams kind of putting themselves on. I feel like a lot of them, those small market teams as well, especially, honestly, both of these franchises, the story makes it great, right? Seeing where OKC came from and how this team was built over 10 plus years, right, to get to this point.
and showing teams that small markets can get it done. Now, I mean, we've seen some smaller markets. OKC's been here before, obviously, but like just really showcasing like, hey, like you can win in a small market.
Yeah, absolutely, and it gives those superstars a chance to see kind of how you can flourish in that market as well. We see Halliburton. He was traded to this team. He was not expected, of course.
Both guards were.
Yeah, right. Both of these guys, Shea and
as they like to say, this is the Paul George finals.
Yeah, it is. It is. Both teams benefiting off of that young fella who your team now has the pleasure of having. Um, and it's good to see, man. It's cool. Obviously it's not as dramatic in terms of the big names flash, right? Of the New Yorks, the LAs, where you see the stars are in order. You're not gonna see that. You're gonna get those more homegrown stars, right? Like this is when Pat McAfee gets to get put on. That's his Indiana, that's his team out there, and do all of that. So I mean, it's cool and it's different, right? I think a lot of times, we talk about just the NBA, and it's always the stars that we know, right? It's LeBron. We're used to LeBron. I think I was looking um, earlier at like finals, and I didn't realize how many times like we saw the same teams play each other 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, right? And it's like that pattern was very consistent, has been consistent in the NBA forever, right? Like forever. Um, and so it shows you know, you can be a really good team and be a small market. You can be a really, really good team and not have LeBron or Steph or these names that are super duper recognizable. And guys, smaller name guys are going to get put on in this series, right? Like Andrew Nemhard, one of my favorite players on the Pacers, right? Like how he plays, a guy like that gets to make a name for himself. Alex Caruso gets to be put on a bigger stage. We see him on all NBA defensive teams all the time, but you don't get to watch. You don't really see that, right? You don't see some of these guys and these teams and these fan bases honestly get to kind of get put on through this sport. So hey, from that perspective, I like it.
Another thing, I honestly, I for the fan bases, I love it for that too. I think, especially in some of these big markets, I think the fans have the real fan has kind of been pushed out. Obviously, it costs like $8,000 to get a seat in a garden.
Yeah.
But
get a good seat in
you
Indy.
and I think I saw something. There was one of the games at OKC. I think the Western Conference Finals, the last game. I think like their cheapest ticket to get in was like 195 or something like that. And
Yeah.
at the time, I think that was like the most expensive ticket like for OKC like ever just to get in. Like I think when you look at both crowds, like Indiana, like they say in 49 other states, it's just basketball. I don't believe that, but whatever. I mean, both home courts are incredible, and I mean it's great to watch. Like it's like basketball is obviously just the sport itself is fun watching, but there's a reason nobody liked the bubble because when you don't have the crowd reactions, just everybody's decked out, and in Indiana they got the yellow shirts on. OKC it could be white and blue, all white, all blue, black. Like I love that. For me, like that's what makes me excited about the playoffs. And one of the things as a fan that I've kind of been disappointed is just like as the years go on and on, I just feel like the fans in these playoff games are like less and less enthusiastic about actually like being at the game and being a rowdy fan and having the towels go everywhere. Like I can remember games back in the day where it's like the game starts and it feels like every towel in that building is going crazy.
Right.
Now it just look like a regular season game, like to me. But yeah, would revenue and ratings be more booming if New York or LA was in the final short? But I think the league and fans should be excited because these are two great basketball teams, and I think it should be a fun series.
Yeah, and the way they play, both teams play, I think a lot of people will enjoy it. It's going to be a real up and down series, a lot of points. But I think it's also going to be some games where it's not a lot of points, where you see, both teams really lock in. I think I saw something about how Halliburton has done against Lou Dort traditionally, and it hasn't been great for him. So this is a chance for him to you know kind of rewrite that. And he's going against Shea, like we said, another big point guard, the MVP. Like That's a big matchup. So before we go much further, who do you think out of these two teams has had the more impressive run to this finals? You talked about this stories a little bit, but which one are you like? Okay, that's tough.
I'm gonna go. Both runs have been extremely impressive. OKC coming in with a dominant 68 win season. Obviously, everyone was wondering if they were too young to get it done like last year against Dallas, but they came back number one seed again. Shea got his MVP. They had to get it done this year. I said they were, by far the best team in the West. Like that. If they didn't get it done this year, like the honeymoon phase would have been over for Shea, in my opinion. But they got here and they got it done. Took out Jokic. Uh, Grizzlies and Minnesota didn't give them much of a challenge, but they went out there and they handled business accordingly. I think I'm gonna go with the Pacers just for the way that it all started with them. They started the season 10-15. Halliburton was playing the worst stretch of ball of his career, possibly. I think he was shooting like 26% or something like deep in this December. Um, Playing on the road against the Knicks and the Cavs, two teams that they weren't given much of a chance to win. I mean, most people thought they had a chance to beat the Knicks, but overwhelmingly it was the Knicks, and not many people gave them a chance against the Pacers. They're kind of just incredible comebacks that they've had in each round. Like each round, we've seen them have just an insane fourth quarter comeback where it just looks like they're completely dead in the water. And next thing you know, Halliburton and Nemhard and Eastmith, they just go on a tangent, make some incredible shots. You know, never forget the Cleveland game with the offensive rebound and the dagger three, and obviously game one against New York, that epic comeback in the last couple of minutes. So I think I'm gonna go with them just for the way the season started, the expectations for them going into the playoffs, and being on the road for the last two series. I think theirs has been a tad more impressive.
I mean, go either way. I can go either way. I think I'm leaning more OKC, simply for the fact that, or simply for the way that they've kind of made this run. Right, like you said, they were number one in the West. In the West, you got the MVP. But they were also that young team that while we said they got to do this to prove it to us, you know, they proved it to us. Right, like this whole thing was a prove it tour for them, and it's been in pretty overwhelming fashion. I mean, they had the Nuggets series, they went to 7, but we saw some very dominant performances in that. We saw obviously the first round was cake. I mean, even that Timberwolves series, that was, I mean, what they won they won game 5 by what, like 40, right? Like at the end of the day, like these dudes are taking no prisoners, and simply like they are not just beating people, but they're showing like, yo, we stand like the best team here. Like we are the most dominant team. We're beating you. It don't matter whose night it is, we're gonna beat you. And so like for me, I think that's extremely, impressive. Like I'm curious to see. Like you said, a lot of people I feel like are really. I'm hearing a lot of Thunder in 4, Thunder in 5. Like for that Pacers team that, like you said, they have overcome. I mean, 2 series where, if nothing else, they didn't have home court advantage at all, right? Like the Cavs series, they were banged up, but pretty dominating fashion against them. The Knicks series, I think a lot of the hope for it came from the simple fact that, they're playing the Knicks. The Knicks fans were a hopeful bunch, right? And the media is like, but whatever, pump into it. But a lot of people also, hey, Pacers look like a much better team in that series. You got to use your eyes. So it's gonna be interesting. I want to see if the Thunder can stamp it. You know what I'm saying? Make it 4-1 like we think. You know what I'm saying? And leave no doubt that would really cap this for me, for these young guys. But what do you think the Pacers need to do to pull off the upset in this thing, man? To win. OKC's
Uh,
tough.
it's gonna take a lot. Um, Halliburton and Siakam, I don't think they can afford to have bad games if they want to have a chance to win this series. I mean, it's going to take a full team effort because we saw how defensively the way they frustrated Ant Edwards. I mean, they frustrated Jokic to a degree, but he was still able to, get off a couple games. And honestly, I think Denver is probably going to be the most challenging series for OKC. Had the best player on the planet, championship DNA. So I just think that might be the toughest. He'd be the best player on the planet. I've always said he's the best player on the planet. Just because you're the best player on the planet, don't mean you're the best player in NBA history. Like what? Like what are we talking? Don't get me started, yo. Let's stay on this OKC Indiana thing because I will go on another tangent about Jokic all the time. Yeah, we'll do that later. But anyway, like I was saying, defensively, like Ant said, it's like 15 puppets on a string. Like the rotations will be solid. They don't have any weaknesses defensively, so I don't think they'll be able to target and matchup hunt the way they did the Knicks. Both offenses are great. Since January 1st, both these teams got the best records. Like you said a few weeks ago, like the Pacers are just like OKC, but OKC is better. I think they'll prove that. They both play very similar ways, but I just think defensively, OKC's at another level, and we know the kind of pressure that they're going to put on the ball. And there's not going to be a situation where you're like, yo, like Cat and Brunson, where it's just like they're defensive liabilities. So I worry about that. So like they're really just going to have to shoot the lights out, and they're going to have to make some magic in the fourth quarter. But I don't think there will be much magic this time around.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep every game extremely close. And I fear their style of play is going to hinder them from doing that because, okay, she's cool with that, but they're just much better. And they make many less mistakes far less mistakes, right? We talked about the Pacers in that Knicks series. The Knicks killed themselves time and time again. They would make a run, kill themselves again. The Thunder aren't one of those teams, right? The Thunder are not going to shoot themselves in the foot often. And, they have the MVP, right? Like, I think it's going to be, I'm curious to see who they put on them. Indiana, who they put on Shea. Do you go Neesmith? I feel like that's probably where you have to go, but I feel like he's going to foul out. I feel like can't go them hard.
They've got to rebound better this series too.
Yeah, right. And
I say we saw when Tibbs implemented the Twin Tower lineup with Cat and Mitchell Robinson, that caused some problems for them. Now they're gonna have to go against Chet and Hartenstein, who they'll get after it too, and obviously they're great rim protectors. So Indiana's got a lot to tackle going up here, but I mean, one thing is they got going for them. They're confident. They believe. They play fast. We'll see what Rick Carlisle has in the bag if he can kind of dominate the coaching matchup to kind of make this closer. But I think OKC has shown how much better they are than the rest of the league, and I think they'll put a stamp on that in this finals and win it in 5.
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm rolling Thunder in 5 as well. I said whoever came out of the East was probably gonna get swept, but I could see, OKC having one of those games I did against Minnesota where they just super flat from the jump. It's like, nah. The Pacers, like you said, they're a very confident team. They're one of those teams, and when you play sports, like the more confident they are, the better they get, right? Like they'll get real good if they believe in it and they in it. And, they gritty, getting after it with you. And so I think that's why it'll be. I think there'll be a lot of good games in this series. I just don't think they'll win most of it.
I think they'll be competitive, but I think OKC ends up, pulling away in the last couple of minutes of most of these games.
This is going to be Halliburton's series to really show that conversation we had. Can he have those, big moments closing in Game 6 against the Knicks in the fourth quarter? The 30-point triple-double. Can he do that enough times in this series for them to win? That's kind of what it's going to come down to. And I think it'll tell us a lot about, where Tyrese Halliburton is as far as his stardom. But I'm definitely excited for the series. It'll be fun. We talked about this a little bit earlier before we got on here. Not many final series that we've seen where there's, a real point guard duel, both teams best players, the point guard, or it's two really good point guards. So in terms of this one, man, is this one of the best, point guard matchups we've seen in the finals in a little while? Maybe definitely a little while.
It's been a while. You got Steph and Kyrie. Other than that, we talked earlier. Hey, hey, you alright, man? Hey, coming for you. They heard about your Jokic and Hakeem taking it. They coming to take you away. Yeah.
Old head. Nah.
But you go all the way back to, I think you said it was 89 when 89. Magic and Isaiah went head to head. That's probably, for guards, that's probably as big as it gets. Don't know if we can surpass that, but I mean, Hallie and Shea. I mean, it's for today's NBA. I mean, that's pretty much as good as it gets. To two young stars. Shea's the MVP, superstar in this league. I think it'll be a real fun matchup. Both teams they play differently. That's what makes it kind of fun too. Shea's more of a scorer, and Hallie is more playmaking. Get guys out in transition. So, I mean, in a way, I mean this could be the new Magic. Isaiah, in a way, you got the scorer versus the playmaker. I'm just saying, I'm not comparing the players. I'm just saying.
I get it.
Isaiah was more of a scorer than Magic, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be cool, man. It's, all the theatrics, no more NBA on TNT.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
That last Inside the NBA was emotional for me.
Yeah, it was tough.
All I've known is Inside the NBA since I've been alive. So
yeah. We got NBC.
Shout out to those guys. I am kind of excited for that. Jordan, Melo, the old music. They're going to be doing player introductions. Like, I'm here for it. I'm excited.
They're giving you what you want.
That's what I need. So I'm here for it.
Maybe if you put them on the retro, stuff, you'll believe a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for this episode. Very fun episode. The NBA Finals are here. It's here, but that also means almost the end of the NBA season. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll check in with y'all. By then, that'll be what? Game 3? Wait, we start Thursday?
I don't know the final schedule.
Yeah, let me look real quick. Quick little glance.
I mean, I would guess it would go Thursday, Saturday, Monday or Tuesday would be game
Thursday,
3.
Sunday, Wednesday.
Oh, dang.
I got to drop on Wednesday. Might have to do it.
Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday? Oh, my
Thursday,
God.
Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. Then game 5 is Monday. Damn. Starving us.
I've already been in my YouTube bag watching old highlights.
Yeah. There you are.
Dark times for me.
Yeah, so...
Let me get my Hakeem highlights on, because somebody was watching the wrong highlight tape earlier.
Yeah, make sure you send it to me when you get done.
Yeah, I'm gonna find you the right one.
I'm gonna
find you the right one.
And this is a shame, because you're making it sound like I'm not saying bro would be nice. I'm just saying he wouldn't put up.
You literally said, and don't lie, you said, yo, I'm struggling to see where he gets minutes.
Because
you said that. Is that you not saying I don't know bro is good? Is that you not saying that?
Bro, certain bigs just don't play in the league.
Not dudes capable of getting you 30 and 15.
And that's what I'm saying. He's not getting 30 and 15 in the league. Not right now. Not right now.
But what you thinking? 28 and 12?
Stop.
All right. All right. But please wrap the show up. I'm done here.
I'm feeling like a 18.
Don't piss me off, yo.
18 and 9. 18 and 8.
I'll holler at you later, bro. You do the show by yourself. You close out by yourself.
All right, bro. We almost done, bro. We're almost done. That's going to do it for this episode of 2 for 2, Season 3, Episode 95. We appreciate y'all as always. Continue to show love on all social media platforms, on Apple Podcasts as well, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker. We're here. We're going to keep doing this thing for y'all. With that, Quis and Nell, 2 for 2. We out.